Hi guys, Geoffrey here. In this video, I want to talk to you about why your partner may be struggling to believe in your changes if you're in a process of reconciliation right now. And this could be in a form of either your partner is telling you outright that she doesn't believe in your changes, or it could be more of a subtle form where she may be saying with her words that she sees your changes, but her actions doesn't really reflect that, where she's not coming closer to you, she's not deciding to come back to you, etc. And I want you to stick around to the very end of this video because these 4 points I'm going to make are going to be very, very crucial points that are often really hard to spot and often lies in people's blind spots. And most people never realize this until it's often too late. So with that said, be sure to stick around to the very end of this video. I don't want you to miss anything in this video right here. Now, in case you're new to the channel, my name is Geoffrey and I help men in long-term relationships and marriages with the right skills and knowledge to be able to design a thriving relationship by yourself. So if you want more content on this topic, be sure to subscribe to this channel and also click that bell button as well to be notified when I post new videos every single week. And while I'm on this topic, also the masterclass on the 5 proven steps to rebuilding your relationship from the ground up is still open. So if you want to join that masterclass, or if you want to submit your application for the Relationship Revival Program, be sure to stick around to the very end of this video for the announcement on how you can join both those things. So I want to start here with a few prefaces, which is that, when you look at why a lot of people fail to reconcile, it's never ever about the lack of trying. A lot of you here are trying your best to try to reconcile. You're researching me on YouTube, for example, and you're doing a lot of effort. But often, this effort is either pointed to the wrong processes, so you have identified the wrong processes. For example, if you're playing right now the high value man card, or if you're even trying no contact, smart contact, if you've seen a lot of my videos, you'll know why those approaches don't really work. So if you're playing the wrong processes, yes, you could be having a lot of effort, but your effort could be all pointed in the wrong direction, right? You're just going faster in the wrong direction. So in this video here, I'm going to assume that you've watched a lot of my videos and that you understand what the right processes are at this point. Now, the biggest reason though is that there's a lack of internal shifts usually, and these lack of internal shifts lead to changes that are very ineffective or becomes very ingenuine, very difficult for your partner to believe in. And so the hard part about these changes, these internal shifts, is that these will make your changes very hard for your partner to believe, even if you've made the right layers of changes. Now, so what are those reasons? So the first reason here is that your changes are really bred out of what we call tetheredness. And again, if you watch a lot of my videos, if you don't know what tetheredness is, we always say, if you fail to become untethered, then you will have zero chance of your partner ever believing in your changes. And it might sound a very extreme point of view to have here, but to understand this, let's understand what untetheredness means. And untethering here means that you're trying to untether or detach from the outcome, but it's not just about detaching from the outcome, it's that you're also attaching yourself, trying to attach yourself to the process, to a process as well. In this case, to the right process. So it's first and foremost identifying the right process and then you being able to surrender to them. And this is basically the deep internal belief that if you simply follow the process, you get the outcome. You don't get the outcome by focusing on the outcome, by worrying about it, by trying to manifest it, by trying to dream about it. You get the outcome by focusing on the right processes day in, day out. And if you channel your willpower to the right process, you will get the outcome eventually. So it's focusing the attention, your attention, what you do every day, your thoughts on the process 100%. And you're using also the process, not the outcome, as a source of motivation, right? So a lot of people, if you ask people, why do you want to do certain things? They'll always say, because I want a certain outcome. But rarely would they say, why do you want to do a process? It's because I want to do the process. I love doing the process. So if you look at how most people operate, most people will always be attached to the outcome like that. But if you look at really successful and masterful people in any craft, they'll always say that it's because they learn how to be untethered and really learn to love the process no matter what the outcome is. So again, your addiction is towards the process, not the outcome. So note that this is very different from what we call indifference. So a lot of people, when they hear me say the word untether, they often think like, oh, I should not care about my partner then. No, it's not that. Focusing on your partner and your relationship is really not a useful thing to do. It doesn't change anything you do anyway. The more useful thing to do is identify the right process and obsessing yourself over the process and getting your addiction to the process. And this is really the first thing that all my clients learn, because without this, nothing else can happen. There's no chance of ever you reconciling if you don't get this one right. And the reason I say that is that this will, if you're tethered still, this will manifest in your relationship in so many very, very unhealthy ways. Number one is that if you're tethered to your partner like this, where what she does affects what you do, then you're always going to be hot and cold depending on the status of the outcome. So one day you could be really hot and you could say, I want to save my relationship. I'm going to be the best for you. I'm going to do whatever it takes to save you and the relationship and save this marriage. And then the next day your partner says, there's no hope, please give up. And then you just give up. You just go back on everything that you said the previous day and you give up again. So when we're talking about the effects of tetheredness, we can be talking about the inconsistency in your display of your changes, in your ability to display your changes. So one day you're really good with your changes and you're showing your changes, and then the next day, because you feel not so hot, because of an outcome change, you suddenly go back to your old self again. Or it could be motivation related as well, where one day you were really just gung-ho on trying to save your relationship, bettering yourself, and then the next day you're just going kaput. And this can also be directly correlated. So it could be that sometimes if, let's say, you have a lot of hope in your outcome and your outcome is going well, you have a very high motivation. And if the hope is taken away from you, you also suddenly lose motivation. But it's also going to be inversely correlated, where things get really bad, for example, and this badness or this dire state of your situation really motivates you to do something about the situation. But nonetheless, whether it's directly correlated or indirectly correlated, the premise here is that it's the outcome that is determining how you feel and your mood and your motivation. And it should be that way. It should be the process, not the outcome. Because the outcome is, again, out of your control. And if you're tethering yourself to the outcome like this, then your mood, your motivation will always be out of your control. It's a wild card. Now, the main problem, though, with being tethered is that the enjoyment of why you want to change does not come from the process itself. It comes from the hope or desire for an outcome. So in other words, there's this very stark lack of intrinsic motivation behind what you do. Now, if you are tethered like this, then why is this a big problem? Because again, understand that when your partner is in this position, when she wants to walk out of the relationship, she's probably tried to save the relationship many times. She's probably listened to your promises for things to get better, for example, many, many times already. But again, every time she surrenders herself to you and she surrenders herself to trust you again, she gets burned over and over and over again. She gets burned by false promises and burned by getting her hopes up and then getting it crumbled down again. So it's almost like this case of fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me. But for your partner now, it's fool me 20 times, really, really shame on me. So she wants to make sure here that she doesn't make the same mistake ever again. That whatever you say, whatever you claim your changes are, whatever you're going to do, that is real. That is not going to be something that you will go back on again in a week, in 2 weeks, etc. But if you're tethered like this and you're always hot and cold, your display of changes is always hot and cold, your motivation is always hot and cold, it shows your partner that your changes aren't really that genuine and is definitely not permanent. That once the motivators go away, and the motivators again can be the hope for an outcome, or it could be the direness of the situation. Once that motivators go away, then you'll probably go back to your old self again. And she doesn't need to really believe this because the evidence is staring her right there in the face. You are already giving up and fluctuating with your motivation even before reconciliation. Even when you get this sense of the motivators going away, you will stop the processes. You'll go back to your old self. So why would she think that you will not go back to your old self later on? Now, this internal state that you need to understand here is that this is not something you can fake. This is something you express through your micro-expressions, your microtone. So this is an internal work that you're doing, a very deep internal work you're doing. Again, this is why we say if you fail to become untethered, you will have zero chance of ever reconciling here. Now, the second reason is that your changes aren't really backed up by strong intrinsic intentions. Let's start here by understanding that there are two necessary ingredients for something to feel genuine for us. And these are the only two ingredients that are needed, and you must have these two ingredients. And this first is that any action, that any words you do, in this case, you're changing, needs to be done out of desire, of wanting because you want to, not out of obligation because you need to. And the second criteria here is that the desire needs to be intrinsic in itself. It cannot be an extrinsic desire, it needs to be an intrinsic desire. So the best way to illustrate this, for example, imagine that two people are giving you a gift. You like these two people equally, but the first person says to you when he gives this gift, he says, hey, I'm giving you this gift. I really went out of my way and it was really inconvenient of me to get you this gift. I didn't really want to give you this gift, But, I'm your friend and I need to be your friend because I'm very lonely. So here you go. Here's your gift. The second person says, you know what? I only give gifts to people who I want to give gifts to. Now, I want to give you this gift. I actually enjoy it. So the desire there is very intrinsic to what they actually want. Now, if you look at those two gifts, which gift would you take? Most of you would take the second gift. And the first gift you would say, oh, that's really hard for me to take. Let's not give me the gift anyway. But the second gift, you can accept it with open arms because it seems a lot more genuine. So again, for something to be genuine, for something to be taken well by other people, you need both these criterias. And in terms of your changes, if you want your partner to accept your changes and see it as genuine, then you also have to follow these two criteria as well. So both of these, again, just like the first one, can never be manufactured. So again, going back to this concept of tetheredness again, if you're tethered still and you're doing this out of need, out of this rush to try to get her back because you need to, because you're so tethered to your outcome and getting that outcome, then everything you do will seem to come out of obligation. Because again, one, it's not because you want to, because you need your partner back. You need to reconcile. And you're changing here, not because you want to intrinsically, you enjoy the processes of changing, but because you want a certain outcome. You hope to get a certain outcome. So immediately, if you're tethered, you're robbing yourself of the two key ingredients for something to feel genuine, to feel real. And you're going to show your partner here through your ups and downs and so on that you don't actually enjoy the process of changing. That you are changing simply because you want an outcome, but you don't actually enjoy that process intrinsically. Because again, here you change your mind depending on the different circumstances that you are faced with. You are struggling to be consistent over a long period of time because you're hot and cold depending on what the weather is. And you mess up during the hard moments, especially because again, you're tethered. If you're tethered, if your partner does something bad, you're going to sync with her usually. And when you sync with her like this, you are unable to really thrive under the difficult moments. But again, we always say, it's under the very difficult moments that you get to really see what someone's made of. If you can show to your partner that you can still be your new self, even through the difficult moments, you're showing her that your changes are very, very real. But if you can only do it when things are sunny, when things are great, she's going to think anybody can be changed on a beautiful day. Like, that's fine. What are you really made of when things are hard? That's what really tells me. But if you're tethered again, you can't pass this test. So again, this is another reason why your partner struggles to believe in your changes. Now, the third reason is what we call the urgency illusion. And tetheredness will make you fall into the urgency illusion. And the urgency illusion here comes out in most people, or manifests for most people, by the strong need to somehow manufacture some contact. And the funny part is that they're always trying to manufacture contact before they even make any internal shifts, any internal changes. So again, it's almost like you trying to talk to your partner and make promises again before you can actually know for sure that you can deliver on those promises, which is what caused the problem in the first place. So if you're doing this, don't do this. And it's also because they're driven by this urgency illusion. Healings of emotions takes time. It takes for our clients 3-6 months, even after perfect execution of the processes, to really allow their partner's emotions to heal. But again, if you're tethered and you're so influenced by the short-term weather and the hope of your relationship and the hope that your partner has, the mood of your partner, you're not going to be staying patient throughout this 3 to 6 months. You're going to be swinging wildly and often going down with your partner as well. So again, if you're tethered, you're going to let this urgency illusion really kill you during this waiting period when you're simply letting your partner's emotions try to mature with your changes. And the other thing too is that your actions and your words just reek out of desperation and trying to control what your partner thinks, what your partner does now, right? It reeks of that, and she can smell that. It shows in your microtones, your microexpressions. It shows in everything you do. You can't hide this. And you're also going to show your partner here that you're willing to do and say anything you want to try to get your partner back. So again, if you fall for this urgency illusion, the reason why your partner struggles to believe or changes is that in her mind, she's going to be thinking, well, if these changes are really forever, then why is he rushing this so much? Why is he rushing to show it to me? Why is he rushing for me to believe it? Like, if it's forever, I'm eventually going to see it. Why is he rushing this so much? And why is he so desperate for me to believe it now? Is it because he wants to actually slow down in the processes? Because he doesn't actually like changing? Because he's waiting for this moment in the future where he can just stop these changes and he can coast for a bit? what is it here? It's very suspicious. And why is he so crazy? And does he get so crazy whenever I don't believe in his changes now? Why is he desperately wanting me to feel something that I don't actually feel? And aren't these the same promises as he's made me in the past? Why should I believe him now? I need time to believe it. I need time right now to see these changes over a long period of time for me to believe it. But he doesn't allow me that time. And he doesn't seem to be secure in his changes. He seems to always be, like this person who's trying to overprove themselves and over-explain themselves. Why is he doing this? It sounds very, very fishy if you're falling for the urgency illusion. And a lot of you in this position may be saying to me right now, well, Jeff, you don't understand. For your clients, it may be different. But for me, I'm like weeks away or months away from divorce right now. I mean, the divorce papers could be on my desk at any point. Guys, we enroll 1,500 people every single year. Do you know how many people wait until things are very dire before investing money, time, and energy into seeking my help? All of them. So we're talking about all my clients are in the same dire situations as you. And trust me, guys, once you begin to understand the process, once you begin to understand the reconciliation process and what it means to give your partner enough freedom to let her emotions mature, you realize that there was no urgency. All the urgency was just made up. And you'll be surprised at how much your partner is willing to wait, to see your changes, to observe your changes, regardless of what she's saying right now. Regardless if she's saying she's going to divorce you no matter what, there's no time, doesn't really matter. Again, at the end of the day, what she really wants to see, what she needs to see is, are your changes real and permanent? And if you fall for the urgency illusion, you're never going to show people that they're permanent. Never. So no matter what, guys, don't think your situation is unique. Never ever fall for the urgency illusion. Learn to love the processes intrinsically. The fourth reason here is that your changes have not become a massive part of your identity. What do I mean here? So let's talk about what it means to become first. What does it mean to become? When you become something, your actions, you do something because you are, not because you want to have. You've become also when the actions and the words of your changes here becomes your lowest default. So a lot of people, for example, they say to me, Jeff, I can be bulletproof, but sometimes my partner gives me some challenges that are so hard, I don't know how to be bulletproof around that. That tells me that you haven't become yet, because that becoming action hasn't become your lowest default. And what I mean by lowest default is that during the toughest moments, during the moments when you're tired, when you're sleepy, that becomes your default action. And so when it becomes your default action like this, you really cannot get burnt out, and you shouldn't feel burnt out. So a lot of people say to me too, hey, these changes are great, but this is tiring, man. This is such a tough journey I'm going through. If it's such a tough journey for you, then you haven't really become. Because if you've become, it should be effortless for you. If also, you shouldn't feel this urgency to try to manufacture an outcome right now. So the urgency illusion that we talk about, you shouldn't fall into that. Because again, if you've become, it shouldn't matter to you what the outcome is as much. Because you're thinking to yourself, whether I reconcile or not, I'm still going to be doing the same things every single day. The only time you should be falling for this urgency illusion is if you want to stop the process eventually. If you're waiting for that finish line, if you're waiting for that time you can coast and you can stop being your new self. But again, ironically, if you're looking for that time when you can stop being your new self, you'll probably not get your outcome. That's the ironic part you have to understand here. And becoming, when you become something, when you can be steadfast in your changes no matter what outcome happens. That it could be rain or shine, you're still going to be doing the same things anyway. Now, this should sound familiar because again, the number one prerequisite for becoming is first untethering. You untether, and only then can you really do what we call identity shifting here. So again, if you haven't become your changes, then it should be obvious why your partner cannot really believe your changes. Again, know that your partner cannot and does not want to be born again. So it's very clear that if you haven't become, that you're just simply appearing and not becoming. Because again, she can see from your exhaustion, from the difficulty of you playing out these processes, from the microtones and micro expressions that you express, that this is tough for you. This is not who you are. This is what you're trying to do, but not who you are. And so when she sees this, she's going to feel this massive risk of a relapse, of her regretting her decision to trust you again, because she has done so many times. She has trusted you before, but regretted it many times before as well. Now, the thing is that you can fake appearing, but you can never fake becoming. Becoming is a deep identity shift that you have to achieve within. And if you haven't made this internal shift, then how can you expect her to jump back into your arms? After all she's been through, after all you've put her through, how can you expect her to jump into your arms? It's really hard. Now, again, this whole video was really in depth about untethering and how untethering leads to you creating these 4 ingredients again. But this is also why, if you look at the program curriculum that I have, untethering is really the first things that we stressed about in the beginning. And it's the first thing that all my students must master before they can move on. Because without untethering, nothing you do, even if you have the right changes, will be believed by your partner. And if you ever want to have the hope of ever reconciling and your reconciliation efforts to work, you have to get this untethering portion right. And I hope this video shows you why. And if you want to see just how big of a role untethering plays in all my client success stories, etc., you can check out the link above my head and also down below this video. And you'll notice in all these videos that they all mention untethering as a major part of their success, because it has to be for your changes to be genuine. Now, if you want to learn more about this and the different layers of changes that you need to really reconcile in a very effective way, check out my masterclass. And in that masterclass, I'll show you the exact steps all my clients have used to reconcile in their relationship despite being in very dire situations and despite the fact that they're doing this by themselves. So if you want to join that masterclass, or if you want to submit your application for the Relationships Revival program, you can click the link above my head and also down below this video as well. And if you want the free guide and understand how to conduct conversations better in a healthier way that doesn't lead to arguments, you can download the guide I have for you down below this video as well, or also above my head. And if you want to join a community where you can have a member of my team answer your questions for you, you can also join me in my free Facebook group down below this video. If you like this video and find it to be valuable, like it. It really helps the channel out and really gets this video out to more people as well. And if you have a comment, feel free to leave them down below as well. I would love to hear from you. And in the meantime, I will leave you there's 2 other videos with more skills and knowledge to be able to allow you to design a thriving relationship on your own in your marriage or your relationship. For now, guys, I'll see you in the next video. Let's go.